Okay, hi, this is Tahir Benjeloun's The Sand Child. So get your copy. We're on chapter 12. That's on page 95 in my book, where this video is going to also have chapter 13. Chapter 12, The Woman with the Badly Shaven Beard. At the back, not of the stage, but of this story, hangs a wide, multicolored ribbon, swollen by the wind. It becomes a transparent bird that dances on the farthest point of the horizon, as if to give this adventure the colors and melodies it needs. When the wind is only a summer breeze, the ribbon floats to the regular rhythm of a horse galloping to infinity. On the horse is a rider wearing a large hat on which some unknown hand has laid ears of corn, branches of bay and wildflowers. When he stops over there, at the point when day is indistinguishable from night, on those lands where the stones have been painted by children, where the walls serve as beds to statues, there, in immobility and silence, under the gaze of loving girls, he becomes a tree that stands awake all night. In the morning, the first rays of light surround the tree, move it, give it body and memories, then freeze it in the marble of a statue with arms laden with foliage and fruit. All around it is a white, bare space in which everything melts on arrival, turning to sand, crystal, and small chiseled stones. Opposite the statue of the morning is a large old mirror. It reflects not the statue but the tree, for it is an object with a memory. The clock is a soulless mechanism. It has stopped, worn by rust and use, by time, by men's breathing. Friends, time is the curtain that will soon fall on the spectacle and envelop our character under a shroud. Companions, the stage is made of paper. The story that I am telling you is an old piece of wrapping paper. It will need only a match, a torch, to confine everything to nothingness. The same fire would burn down the gates and the days. Only our character would escape. He alone would be capable of finding a refuge, and the rest of our story amid the pile of ashes. In his book, he speaks of an island. It may be his new home, the hinterland, the hinterstory, the last stretch, the infinite whiteness of silence. Our character, I don't know what to call him or her, may be the main attraction of the circus. He drew men and women and brought a great deal of money to the owner. He was far from his native city, and his disappearance had little impact on the big dilapidated house. He danced and sang. His body found the joy and happiness of a youth in love. She hid herself to write. The old woman watched over her. Abbas protected her. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman. Our character was moving toward the reconquest of his being. He no longer slept with the acrobats, but in the women's tent. She ate and went out with the other women. She was called Lala Zahra, a name she became fond of. She indulged in no nostalgia. She rejected the flood of memories. The break with the past was not easy. Then she invented those white spaces, where with one hand she launched crazy images, and with the other dressed them with a taste for life, the life of which she dreamed. She aspired to calm and serenity, especially to write. One night, as she was going back on stage, she found a letter lying on her straw bed. Lala. So the evidence is a window misted over. Even the sun, the light that dazzles you in the evening, yearns for shade. Just when I had to leave and even to disappear, it was you who took the road of exile. Since the day I recognized you, I have been in the audience every evening. I look at you, observe you, and distance myself. I would not want to embarrass you or importune you with the intensity of my emotions. Know that I am not following you in order to spy on you. I am following you in order to have the illusion of acceding to the inaccessible. Humbly and faithfully yours. You may write to me and leave me a letter at the cash desk bearing the words Al Majhul. It will never be I who comes to collect it, but someone else. Good night. She was overcome with emotion. It was a long time since the anonymous one had manifested himself. On the other side of the room, the old woman pretended to be asleep. An ashtray and a glass of water containing the old woman's false teeth stood on a stool. Lala Zahra was sitting on the bed, deep in thought. A groping hand slipped into the glass and seized the teeth. The old woman wanted to know what was going on. Who has written to you? Nobody. And that letter? I don't know where it has come from or who wrote it. Be careful. We don't want any trouble. If an admirer turns up, I know how to get rid of him. Yes, that's it. It must be some madman chasing me. Yet, I know nobody here. It's quite simple. If it is a man, you're a man. If it is a woman, I'll take care of her. She pulled out her false teeth and put them back in the glass. Lala shut her eyes and tried to sleep. Docile and submissive, Lala Zahra thus underwent a long season of purgation in order to forget. She never disobeyed the old woman and carefully kept her thoughts for the night. She wrote in secret while others were asleep, writing everything down on school exercise books. Though she managed to distance her past from herself, she could not efface it. A few strong, cruel images remained imprinted in her mind: the authoritarian father, the mad mother, the epileptic wife. Chapter 13. A Night Without Escape. I sense them there behind me, pursuing me with their mocking laughter, throwing stones at me. I see first my father, young and strong, advancing toward me, dagger in hand, determined to cut my throat or to tie me up and bury me alive. I hear his rough, terrifying voice coming back from far away, calmly and quietly, to put some order back in this story. He speaks of betrayal and justice. When I hear him, I no longer see him. His image disappears and hides behind the walls, and it is objects that speak. The nearest tree, or even the tottering statue placed as if by mistake in the middle of a crossroads. The voice comes nearer. It makes the glasses on the table vibrate. It is the wind that carries it and holds me a prisoner. I cannot escape it. I am there, and I listen to it. Before Islam, Arab fathers threw an unwanted female infant into a hole and covered her until she died. They were right. In this way they rid themselves of misfortune. It was an act of wisdom, a brief pain, an implacable logic. I have always been fascinated by the courage of those fathers, a courage I never had. All the daughters your mother gave birth to deserved such a fate. I did not bury them because they did not exist for me. You were different. You were a challenge, but you betrayed me. I shall pursue you until your dying day. You will find no peace. Sooner or later the damp earth will fall on your face, enter your gaping mouth, your nostrils, your lungs. You will return to earth, and it will be as if you never existed. I shall come back with my hand pile earth upon your body. Ahmed, my son, the man I formed is dead. You, woman, are merely a usurper. You are stealing that man's life. You will die for the theft. From the depths of my exile, I never cease to pray, my eyelids already heavy, my thoughts already frozen, arrested at the moment when you abandoned your home and body, when you forgot love and destiny, the passion of that destiny that my will forged, but of which you were not worthy. My father's voice was followed by the enlarged, hideous image of a face ravaged by illness. It was my mother's. She looked at me, rooting me to the spot. I thought her lips were moving, but no sound came from them. Her wrinkles shifted and gave her an expression of great hilarity. Her eyes were white, as if turned to the sky. I even glimpsed in them some tenderness, a sort of fatalistic resignation, a wandering, wound a wandering wound that lodged sometimes in her heart, sometimes in the visible parts of her body. It was a long time since she had heard her husband's voice. She had blocked up her ears with hot wax. She had suffered, but preferred total silence to that soulless, merciless, pitiless voice. Her madness had begun with that deafness. A little deaf, she said, but at the time I understood neither her gesture nor her silence. Disfigured, she had abandoned everything. Since she could neither read nor write, she spent her time shut in her dark room, where she murmured incomprehensible things to herself. Her daughters had abandoned her. I had ignored her. Now I don't know what to do. In the night I lie there with my eyes open, so as not to see her gloomy face. I sigh, but I hear my mother's body panting. I shut my eyes. I am surrounded by a harsh light. Confronted with the image of that suffering woman, I am powerless, unable to move. But above all, I cannot open my eyes and escape that vision. I know that face will be there as long as my mother suffers, until some kindly hand comes and delivers her from the prison in which she has been slowly engulfed, where she has dug her own grave, where she lay down, awaiting death or a sparrow come from paradise, wrapped in silence, wishing to be the witness and the victim of a life that she could not live. There are women in this country who step over all barriers, dominate, command, guide, trample others underfoot. Such a woman was Abbas. Men, and not only her son, feared her. She claimed to have had two husbands at the same time. One day she even showed me two marriage certificates in which there was no mention of divorce. A rare, strange thing, but not really surprising to anybody who knew her. I also mention the face of this strong, brutal woman in order to offset my mother's presence in that disturbing darkness. How can I escape her? One answer occurred to me right away. Through love. Impossible. Impossible. Pity, perhaps, but not love. A hedge of green reeds lifts me up. A garden of ferns and other greenery reaches me in that endless night. It goes some way to driving away my mother's face, though without making it disappear entirely, and fills me with a flood of light and perfume. I breathe deeply. I know that this is only a brief interlude in my ordeal. The grass has penetrated everywhere in the space I am sitting in, which is subject not to ghosts, but to beings who demand justice, love, memory. When the garden has slowly withdrawn, I find myself in a bare terrain with my mother, who is calm for the time being. In a corner, scarcely lit, in a small wheelchair, I see it from behind. Perhaps there is no one in it. I don't move. I wait. No point in the provoking mishap. It begins to head for me. I see a forehead marked by many vertical lines, a mouth twisted in the final death agony, the mark of the last cry, the tiny stiff body, the eyes open, fixed on some indeterminate point. The wheelchair moves away, goes in circles, stops, withdraws, then bears down on me. I hold out my hands to stop it. It breaks, then sets off again, as if controlled by some hidden hand or operated automatically. I observe the merry-go-round and say nothing. I try to recognize the person who is amusing himself in this way, but the movement is so rapid that I catch glimpses only of vague flashes. I think of Fatima and see her corpse once more. The forehead is not hers. Death has changed it. She is now floating on a lagoon which has flooded the bare white terrain. She says nothing. I cannot understand the meaning of all this commotion. That's the end of chapter 13. Just remember, read a book before you go to Morocco.